Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hi. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting. Now we are still waiting on what we paid the deposit for Moscow Police Department, which would be anything from 11/13 to 11/16. ISP was given the sheath on 11/16. A trooper picked it up from Moscow, brought it to, I believe it's called New Meadows, and they started doing work on it from what the documents are showing on the 17th. So this is going to be from the 17th forward. And again, we're waiting on the 13th to the 16th from Moscow Police Department. Shouldn't be too long. 3-ish more weeks, maybe. I feel like it's been about that. I'm going to bust everybody's damn bubble right now. This is not the bullshit they bought off Amazon, guys. This clean-ass looking thing with barely any sprinkly nothings on it is the knife sheath. Hence my thumbnail. I see a lot of comments saying it better not just be this one. There's no way that it's this one. There's no way that it's just the sample one from Amazon repurchased. No, babies. This is the one. I'm not comprehending in my 38-year-old almost brain how this knife sheath sat in between two bodies that were soaking and draining of all of their bodily fluids for 8 hours. And there's like barely any pigment on the back of this thing and like some little tiny little sprinkles, tinkly drops that you can barely see. This does not look like an item. This is just so stupid. This does not look like an item that sat on a bed in between two bodies that were bleeding all over the place from multiple wounds. Not just like next to, but the way that they're describing it is that it was partially like underneath the portion of Maddie's legs somehow, the way that they've been describing it. Then also underneath, like partially covered by a blanket. It's been described so many different ways, but we still haven't seen a photo of the way that it was found at the crime scene. This is not the Amazon one, but that's how I'm going to actually I'm going to go ahead and like bring all that up right now before we get started with the documents, because that was one of the things that I'm still trying to figure out because of the more recent information that we have seen about the knife sheath sample being used at the grand jury. I have a lot of questions about that because the document that we have that tells us that Detective Gilbertson with the Idaho State Police repurchased the items the same way, apparently, like through the account, and brought the packages with the actual like packaging like to Moscow, and he met up with Brett Payne. That was in January of 2023, which is like the month after the grand jury situation. So I don't know what they would have been using at the grand jury if that was purchased after the grand jury, because we haven't seen a receipt for when those purchases were created. We don't know when Gilbertson actually purchased them. There's nothing in the report about it. I did try to go through all of the ISP documents that we do have, and I did not see one where Gilbertson wrote up a report about purchasing the Amazon stuff, but I might have missed it. I haven't been able to like completely go through with it. I do the Control F and try to find it, but sometimes it misses it. So I really do go through like all of the pages and try to find it, and I'm still looking for that, which is why I haven't done the video yet. But seeing how clean this freaking sheath is bothers the crap out of me. Now, the pictures are dated 11/17 when ISP got it. So I don't know. I just don't know. I'm really confused about why there was a sample in May of 2023. We don't hear anything about these purchases until June of 2023. The sample has been at the courthouse this whole time until the state got to like reclaim their grand jury exhibits. So there's just a lot of questions, a lot of back and forth about what's actually happening here. I'm going to go ahead and start now and show the screen. This is a long-ass freaking document. This is 2,356 pages. And no to the no to no, we are not going through all of it tonight. We are going to literally go through the pictures. We're going to Control F sheath. In all 2,356 pages of this, the sheath is mentioned 34 times. So we are going to look at every page where the knife sheath is mentioned when it comes to emails that were back and forth, the photos that they have in here. And then after this, it's going to have to be done in sections. I don't know if it's in order. I don't know. I don't know if it's disorganized the way that everything else that they have done in this damn thing is so disorganized. I don't know. So I have to take some time and go through it and organize it a bit. And this is really difficult today for some stupid reason. I know that whatever they did to this file is like making it flip flop and slide. Like, see all this extra stuff right here? I'm not really quite understanding, like, well, maybe because my stupid ass had it at 150%. Okay. Okay, now it's going to start cooperating. Okay. Ember. The baby cat's over here playing with the curtain, so you might hear her doing all that stuff. Okay. This is the link to the Idaho website if you guys want to go grab this yourselves. It was posted today. It was posted today on, obviously, the 31st, Halloween, which is so crazy. Like, why would you drop this shit on Halloween, bro? Like, they knew what they were doing. They knew. They knew what they were doing. Like, so serious. Okay. Now, I will say, the last time I spoke to Matthew Gamet over with ISP, let me see when that was. I asked him about this information and was told that Idaho's state lab was getting all of their information put together and they were getting ready to release a lot out to the public. But I also very specifically asked about the trip that him and Detective Blaker from Moscow took down to Houston with the SHEATH, because Blaker doesn't mention shit about Matthew being there. Matthew mentions a Boise officer when they did the hearing in January. So I asked him specifically about that information. And today I did get an email from him that this link was available and ready, but then he also said, we're aware that you're requesting the other records through this request, and we're working on these records, and we'll contact you again soon. So I'm hoping really, really soon here, we have the information about their trip they took with the vial that they picked up from ISP. That would be really interesting to go through. But the last time that I talked to him about these records getting like put together was on September the 23rd. So it's been over a month. It's been about a month and, I don't know, month and a week and a half or so like that since the last time that I talked to anybody over at ISP. So, I mean, 2,350 something pages. I guess so, broskies. I guess freaking so. That's what I mentioned at the top of the live. That's the knife sheath information that we just paid the deposit for with Moscow Police Department. That's the second one that we got after the packet from 3:30 to 4:30 at 11:12. I swear she's going to pull this whole curtain down with her little 2-pound ass. Ember, come down. We paid the deposit on it. I did a video about it if you want to go back and like scroll through and see like where I requested the actual knife sheath information, because I was very specific about it being from the time that it was picked up at the crime scene, any body cam that they might have, any photos that was taken, all the way to 11:16 when the trooper picked it up from MPD and transported it to New Meadows to be dropped off with somebody over there. And then they didn't actually like tag it in, or like the document doesn't have a date for what they did to it until the 17th, and then it looks like the work started on the 18th. But you're going to see like the evidence tag has the 16th on it, so we should be getting that like soon. That's the one I said should be like maybe like another 3 weeks or so. I think that one was like $160 something, and we paid like the 80. I have freaking hiccups. We paid like the $80 something deposit. So it should be like 3 weeks. And that'll answer that question about like that initial couple of day period. But this is going to be when ISP got it, the directions they were given, what it was sent in, all of those things. Okay. So like I said, out of everything, it's only the word sheath is only mentioned 34 times in all of this document. Is this all the way up here? I feel like this is not as big as I can make this. And I want y'all to be able to see all of this. Okay. Let me make myself bigger. I just said make myself bigger. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start. Actually, we're not going to start here. We're going to go back to that in a second. I'm going to show you all the pictures first, because that's what we've been freaking waiting for. So let me get to the photos, and then we'll start reading through like where the documents have everything about it. They did take a lot of samples and stuff. This is going to take so long to go through. Oh my God. I don't know why this thing is like all slidey. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was around the 250 something mark. Okay. I think this is it. This is the start of it. No, that's the fingernail clippings. That's not what I want. Oh my God, I just had it up here. Am I already losing my mind? I literally just had it up on the screen. What is wrong with me? Sorry, guys. This thing is like really slippy slidey. Okay, I don't want to make y'all like nauseous or have like motion sickness because I've got to move this like really, really quick. It really does. I've never had one of their files open and I can't keep it like straight. It keeps like sliding over like this way, like slantwise when I'm trying to scroll through it. And I always do this when I'm looking at their pictures. So I don't see why this one is acting up so bad. Maybe because it's so freaking big. And so that's another thing I would like to do. Somebody might beat me to it. Honestly, I wonder if Spiral is going to be working through these. They need to probably be... Okay, here we go. They need to probably be completely broken apart. The way that the documents from Washington need to, like, were broken apart so that they made more sense. Okay, here's the sheath right here. This is the first photo of it. We're going to go through all the pictures and then we'll go back through everything that they said. No, this really clean SOB that looks like it's never been barely touched at all is the one that they found apparently. So I have to make it a little bit smaller to get the whole thing on the screen. This right here, according to the purple right here, is area swabbed for item 1.1. So 1.1 is the little strappy piece and the little button snap. So they basically separated the knife sheath itself into sections. So then we have 1.2, which is just the edges of like the handle piece of the sheath itself, like the, yeah, I guess you would call it like a handle portion of it. And then down here at the bottom in the pink, they did the blade portion where it fits in there, but just the outer edges of it. It does mention how they swab the inside too, but that's all obviously going to be labeled differently. So then they have this part right here, the back. Now you see how they have like barely anything, and there is DNA on the back of this. I believe this is where they said the girl's DNA was, but also like another male DNA or another unknown DNA was also back here. If I'm remembering correctly, I would have all these documents in my face if this wasn't like a last minute thing. You'll know how we normally do stuff. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head because it's freaking late at night and this is unexpected. But this is what they're claiming is like the blood on the back of the knife sheath. This like nothingness. And there's no way they could not have cleaned this thing. They cannot tweak this thing. They cannot wash it off. They can't change it. They have to try to go in there and get as much off of it as they possibly can. And to go in there and clean this thing, they can't do that. It's not allowed. So as light colored and like nothingness as this is, with not a single thread out of place, this is the freaking knife sheath. Yes, that little baby kitty cat has made my little like scratches on my arm bleed more than the shit that we're seeing here. Why does it look wrinkled? I don't know. I don't recall Steve ever saying anything about Kaylee having a knife. So yeah, I just am so like surprised at how clean it is. This is about as much that you're gonna see. You see these little specks? Let me see if I can get it really big on the screen. These little specks, guys. These little bitty ass specks are blood on the sheath. This was laying in between somebody whose facial area was so brutalized that she looked non-human. And they had multiple wounds, multiple gouges. Maddie herself had such a deep chest wound that whatever, like the blade met with the handle, left an indentation in her freaking body. And this is the only thing that was there, with it being on a bed with two full grown-ass, healthy-sized women bleeding out. How come every time we finally get a piece that we've been asking for, it gives us more questions and more doubt about like what's going on here? But it wasn't all the way under them. The way that it's been described is that it was like partially under Maddie's, like somewhere on that side, but then also partially covered by the knife sheet, like by the blanket. So if it was covered by the blanket, it wouldn't have been open to have all this spatter and stuff or whatever all over it. And it's barely anything, like little bitty nothing. Little bitty nothing. It's just, I don't even know what to think. And tomorrow I might wake up after like taking a bath and drinking my coffee and relaxing and, you know, doing my morning thing and sitting down and re-looking at this and be like, but I doubt it because there's nothing on this thing. Nothing on it. So this is where they're saying that they caught trace material. Right here in this little crevice where the snaps, what do you call this? Strap. Where the strap that connects the snap, like where the two pieces meet. So this would be this side of it. That's where they took some trace material. Now this part right here, I don't understand. Why do we have something right here that says not to scale? I need somebody who maybe knows a little bit more about the way this shit is like labeled to help me figure out why a picture. But okay, but where's the ruler? Oh, I didn't even notice it, broski. It's all the way over here in the freaking dark. In the pits of hell. Okay, well, no wonder I didn't know what the frick they were talking about. I was like, why does this say not to scale? This is not supposed to be a diagram or like something that was built for this. It's supposed to be an actual picture. Okay, I see the damn thing now. In the freaking dark. Okay, so this is more trace material. Now this looks like it's on the inside of this strap where it obviously has like the rougher pieces. That's not like the polished outside. So this is like the second little trace material piece because the other one was on the outer piece of where this goes inside and starts to loop back up this way. So I'm guessing that they think that this was some sort of like hair fiber maybe? It looks like a little piece of dusty stuffs. You know, like the little dusty stuffs that fly around in the air. Okay. So then this is also where they're why would you call that trace material? Like, oh, okay, I see it. Okay. So on the back piece where it has blood spots, there's also little white pieces. I don't know if you guys can see these. This is as big as this is going to let me get it. There's like a little white fuzzy piece right here. My head's not in the way, is it? No. Right here. And then there's a little white piece right here. But these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these little bitty spots, this is blood. No, and it wasn't Payne that ordered it from Amazon. That's another comment that I saw that I wanted to make sure that we corrected. Moscow Police Department did not buy the Amazon repurchase. It was Gilbertson with Idaho State Police that purchased that. Okay, so then here we have another one that shows trace material. So it's just like little bitty, like dusties. Bro, this just looks like the string kind of like frayed a bit. They're calling that trace material? I guess they would have to like prove that it was biological to label it that, right? Because that just, again, looks like string fray. Okay. There's like a few more pictures. Okay, right here. See, this is the bag that they brought it in from Moscow Police Department. Now, see, the bag says 11/16. This is whenever it left MPD and was given to the trooper. So I'm going to assume that this is most likely the trooper's information from getting it from MPD. And then ISP put their label on it for the lab on 11/17. If you can see that right here in blue pin. That's insane that they deliver their freaking crime scene evidence the way that I get my freaking hamburgers. Like, what the shit? Okay, and then here's just like it in full. Like, it really, the only wear on this whole thing, there's like a little bitty piece right here on the little tip. Maybe a little bit right here, or it's a shitty picture. But then, like, there's just like an indentation. Okay, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad y'all said that, because that's what I was thinking this whole time. Where's like the DNA that they said they found on the snap itself? Because what we're seeing is them getting trace DNA from the strap that has the snap on it and not the snap itself. I think that's it for the photos. And I could be wrong. There could be more in all of this. Okay, see, these are the fingernail clippings. So this is not what we're doing today. I don't want to get everything. I don't like what this is doing. I'm going to print to PDF this like differently again after the live, and maybe it won't be so damn slippy slidey. I've never had one do that. And again, I can only guess because it's so freaking ginormous. Okay. So when it comes to the word sheath, again, in all these pages, it's only in here 34 freaking times. The first time being on page number 98 when it talks about the chain of custody. Now, this is where it shows 11/16 of 22 for lab staff, SMA entry analyst. And then it was put in evidence storage in Meridian. Now, that must have been after it was handed to, because it doesn't say Meridian in the report. When it talks about this in the Moscow police report, in the Moscow police report, the trooper that picks it up drops it off with some sort of person that belongs with Idaho State Police in New Meadow. So I don't know if Meridian and New Meadow are the same thing or not, but it is labeled differently. But then you see here they don't start really doing anything else with it until the 17th, and I don't know if they're just like moving it around or what's going on. But then they don't touch it at all on the 18th, which why would you not be like working on this thing 24/7? I don't quite understand. And then the 19th, the 21st, like it basically just says like who's getting it in and out and like where it's going. Now this right here is interesting. 12/16/22 released to submitting agency via agency courier. So I'll go back on the thing and see if that's whenever it was given back to MPD, or if maybe it was sent to the feds. I don't remember. But see, this is also like different stuff now. It's talking about like every time. Okay, this must be because it's all the same for 12/16. 12/16 must be the day they sent everything back to MPD. Because they all say it. And this is for everything. This is like this right here is swab of left fingernail clippings from Xana. This is a red, dark red counter swab tested positive presumption from blood on the red counter. I guess is the kitchen counter, I guess. But again, we're going to go through all of those. Like that right there, how we just saw all those pages where it showed chain of custody for like every little biological thing that was tested. That's alive in itself, just to go through all of those actual tests. So that's why we're trying to just stick to the knife sheath right now, even though there's so freaking much information. Okay. Now, this is from Stephanie Wilt. This is the second time that it's in here. This is now on page 226. So the first one was page 98, and now we're dropping all the way to 226 before it's mentioned again. This is the evidence that they're talking about that they're looking at, which is the same one that I just showed you the picture of, where it shows the strap and then the edges and the different pieces and the way that they actually sectioned the sheath out itself. 1.1, which is the swab of the front strap. 1.2, swab of edges on handle portion. 1.3, swab of edges on blade portion. And 1.4, swabs of stains on back. Conclusions and interpretations. You know what? I can make this bigger. I like y'all to see the things. Okay. Results from presumptive chemical tests performed on item 1 indicated the presence of blood. Item 1 was swabbed for DNA collection. And what is item 1? The strap piece. And where did they find DNA or trace DNA? And that's another thing. How the frick Are you going to sit here and have a damn jury instruction that literally tells the jury, I'm going to go off on all kind of tangents, I can already tell, that tells the jury, if you hear anything about trace DNA or transfer DNA or anything like that, completely ignore it. But we literally have the ISP lab with Riley Nowlin's name on these documents, on the pictures of the damn knife sheath, calling it a trace sample from day one. So how the frick are you going to sit there and have the damn audacity to say that it's not trace? And again, guys, going through the newest documents that just came out, the defense never gave their narrative for the trace in the transfer DNA, only for the IgG, but the state was the only one that gave their narrative to the court for the other stuff. This is so shady. Everything sucks. Okay. Literally, like, how are they going to have it? Literally calls it trace DNA in the documentation. How are they going to tell the jury not to consider it? How are they going to sit there for 2.5 years and tell us that it was that it was transfer DNA or trace DNA, and then at the very last minute try to back out when Riley Nowlin literally is on these documents calling it that? This is just crazy. Okay, trace evidence was collected from item 1, but was not examined at this time. Known reference samples for Maddie Mogen, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, and Kaylee Goncalves are required for DNA comparison. Please contact the laboratory regarding, I just said that like I just watched Hotel Transylvania today. Please contact the laboratory regarding the status of these known reference samples. A known reference sample from any developed suspects is required for DNA comparison. Please contact the laboratory regarding the status of this known reference sample. Disposition of evidence. Item 1.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4 were forwarded for DNA analysis. Results will follow in a separate report. Item 1 was left in the custody of forensic scientist Tina Wathall. Is it Wathall or Wathall? Oh gosh. Pending latent fingerprint processing. Yeah, they had to do, see, we're going to have to come back to that. Okay. The empty packaging for items 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4 has been returned to the main laboratory evidence vault pending DNA analysis. The descriptions, conclusions, and interpretations stated above apply to the samples as received. Do not step on my keyboard. Okay, thank you. I declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct, and it's signed by Stephanie Wiltz. Okay. Don't step on the keyboard, bro. Back them beans up. No, don't step on a keyboard. Okay. Don't do the crazy stuffs. You can sit up there. That's fine. Okay, so this is where they're taking notes of what they did with it. As you can see right here, it's talking about the brown paper bag, how it was sealed, all the things. Okay, so item number 1, K-bar knife sheath. 11/17/22. Evidence tape, yes. Brown paper bag, like I showed the picture of. Item opened by and examined while in the custody of forensic scientist Tina Wathall. Tan leather K-bar. I can make this part bigger. I don't know why they make it like stupid like this. Okay. Tan leather K-bar knife sheath, USMC with logo and snap button strap on front. Note, designated as side A in photos. Belt loop and sleeve has rivets. Used bright lights to examine. Observed white residue on and near threads, dark areas of discoloration in material, and very small red-brown stains on back. Note, designated as side B in the photos. Tested 4 total stains on back. And they're positive for blood. Collected, or actually, no, not all 4 of them were positive for blood. I don't remember what the 0/OTL positive. That might say positive for blood. Let me check real quick. Or maybe I'm reading that wrong. What does this mean? Okay, well, all it's telling me at this point in time for some reason is that it's some sort of version of an Irish name, and I'm not typing in O'Toole, so we'll come back to that one. Okay. Collected trace evidence on to adhesive of sticky notes, 3 on back and 3 on front strap. Pack in small manila envelope and left in custody of forensic scientist T. Wathall. Used 1 swab to swab front strap. Light gray transfer to swab consumptive. Used 1 swab to swab edges on handle portion. Light brown transfer of swab consumptive. Avoided red-brown stains. What? Why would you have... I guess to maybe make sure that it's like swabbed separately. The portion that you're trying to actually swab versus those red stains. Because you would think that they were actually trying to test the red freaking stain. Okay. Use 1 swab to swab edges on blade portion, which is the 1.3. Light brown transfer to the swab consumptive. Use 2 swabs to swab the staining on the back. Light brown red transfer concentrated on tips. All stains collected. Item left in the custody of the same person. Pending latent print analysis. Positive. Whole swab cut to DNA. Remaining swab stick. Pack in manila envelope. Jeez, the way that they, like, I know medical, like, shorthand, but this is, like, kind of throwing me off. Okay. 11/17. Okay. And that was the swab front strap. Okay. So now we have the swab of the edges of the handle portion. So the flat piece that the strap that holds the snap is attached to and loops through. And then they packed it away. And then the swab of the edges on the blade portion. Yeah, they showed that exact same thing in the picture. And then swab the stains on the back. Stained portions of both swabs cut to DNA. I mean, they didn't put the whole thing in there. So they just actually cut the piece. See, I don't know what this means right here. I don't recall ever getting this far because I didn't complete my stuff. So I'm going to have to go back in and look at that stuff to figure out what that all is. But this is this is the important part. Both sides, and I don't know if they are just, it was said wrong once and they just went with it and for some reason never verified anything, or if something isn't being described correctly just yet. Again, we have more documents for the sheath itself when it comes to the testing. But I'm only seeing them showing us transfer DNA like right here on like this little piece here and on the inside of this hole where this strap like goes in. I'm not seeing them telling us anything about the button snap, S-N-A-P itself. And that's where it was supposed to have been from. I swear, if we don't see something saying that something came from the snap, I'm going to lose my shit because that's literally the direct item. Okay, so let's take a look at like the way that this is back here. So we've got the little bitty specks. A few, this one's kind of blurry, but we've got the specks and then we have like this line that goes across. And then there's like a thicker line, which I'm guessing they're trying to say is blood staining. It's kind of like here, here, and then here, and here. And it kind of like, it has like a this way type vibe to it. And then it looks like there's a spot here and maybe a little here. Now, there was a little piece of trace DNA here that they did do something with, according to the other picture. See, here it is again. There's like, what? This is wild, guys. That's, yeah. It's not what I was expecting. See right here, this is not the damn snaps. This is not the snap pieces. This is the damn... What? I hate this case. I hate this case so much. I hate this case so much. God damn, I hate this case so much. Okay. So here, in here, not here. And see, this doesn't, I don't know if this is blood. I don't know. I don't remember them saying anything about up here. And here they go again. That's what I'm going to do, too. I'm going to go and see how many times they call it trace in these damn documents with their bullshit. Like, how can you not just come out with the original documents during that entire motion to argue like a bunch of dumbasses that we went through forever for months and months and months and be like, y'all can't sit here and tell me this shit now. These reports go all the way back to day 3 of this damn investigation. Kiss my ass. It's trace DNA. Shut up. I don't know why everything has to be so stupid. So here's like more light. And this is not even, this right here was not even, okay, this looks more like a scratch. This is a scratch. Or some sort of indention. It wasn't a stain like I thought. Now that it's in better light. Yeah, this is like a big scratch type thing. I wonder if they tested that for DNA to see if maybe it could have been like, well, I don't know if I guess maybe somebody's fingernails could do that. There's a little wear right here on the back. And again, why would you use a light that makes it so bright that you can't even see what you're doing? Yeah, this again just looks like like a frayed string. Okay, so this is like a checklist that they are supposed to go through as they're testing stuff to make sure that they're doing everything correctly. Let me go up here in the Control F and make sure that I didn't skip anything before this one. No. Yes, hold on, go down. Is this it? Okay. So now we're getting to the print testing, and there was none. That's nice and sweet and to the point. K-bar leather knife sheath with the logo. Item 1 was processed for latent prints. No latent prints were observed or developed. Returning to submitting agency. Just like that. Okay, so that was time number 6, it was said. Okay, so now we're jumping to page 240, and we're on the latent print analysis page, which I don't know why we're even bothering with this since they just said that they didn't have any, but I guess they have to reiterate in another report that they didn't find any, I guess. Okay, this is for the knife sheath again in the brown paper bag. Okay, this is just reiterating their notes that we already saw. Item was examined by Stephanie Wilt while in my custody. Presumptive blood testing positive, and samples for biology were collected by forensic scientist S. Wilt. Trace samples were collected on Post-it. This is where I was like, yeah, so I was commenting with somebody earlier about this. In the pieces that I did skim through, I saw this and I was like, what the frick? And then paused and I was like, oh, well, this is this case. Of course they're freaking writing DNA notes on Post-its and just randomly throwing them in a freaking envelope, okay? Trace samples were collected on Post-it notes and placed in a manila envelope that was then repackaged. So they took the trace samples, like the things that they took off to test, and put them on a Post-it note. Trace samples were collected on Post-it notes. That's the procedures. They just use regular schmegular Walmart shelf Post-it notes to work with DNA trace samples. Is that what I'm actually reading? Sure sounds like it. These are the protocols that they had to check for to be up to par and up to regulation, that even though they weren't the actual base standard, they were their own standard, therefore they were a standard. That was the argument when it came to like lab protocols and shit for likelihood ratios and stuff like that. This lab is out of there. Bro, yes. Jesus. It is. God damn. I want to scream so loud. This is so stupid. Oh my God. Okay. Then it goes through the processes, the chemicals that were used, the methods that all the different things, the chemicals, all the stuff. Now here it is, the pictures again of them moving stuff around. Now I do see a date right here I did notice before that says 11/14. So I'm still wanting to know where it was from the 13th to the 14th, because on the 14th is whenever they actually like gave it an evidence number according to the MPD, that very, very first supplemental narrative in the drops, like that's really, really long and has like all the photos. It's like 20-something pages. Or is it 110 pages? It's really, really long. It has the narrative from Dallinger, I think, on it. It has them giving its like evidence number on the 14th. So that's why I asked, okay, so then where was it? Where was it from the time that it got picked up, and when and where and what time? Because we still have all these discrepancies on who actually found it. Was it Blaker? Was it ISP? What time was it really? Why does Chief Fry know by like 1 p.m. about the knife sheath if Blaker didn't get there till 4 and y'all are telling the world he's the one that found it? I want clarification and confirmation and, facts. So hopefully they give us that information because we paid for it. And it better not just be some blankety blank, 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 nothing. I'm going to be so freaking mad. I have never seen something that they're claiming is a portion of the murder weapon look so damn sparkly. I cannot believe this. See, like this part right here, like the way that it's textured, if this is blood, I mean, we know it's blood, but it almost looks like a print. Not like it could have been like an actual print, but like maybe it was just like barely touched something, like grabbed almost, maybe. I don't know. It just does not look like it sat between two bodies for 8 hours. There's no way that this thing is this clean looking. I just don't understand. It looks like it just came like from Amazon. Like the front of it. The back of it, you can see stuff on it. The front of it looks so clean. Again, that's the procedures that they go through. Woo! Okay, so here's another one. We're down to page 261. Now, I'd like to know who the frick this is, because this is still happening like in November. And I'm going to assume that 2 of these people are Dylan and Bethany, but who is this third person when it comes to case names? Now, here's the evidence that they were working with. Again, the front strap of knife sheath, edges of blade portion, and the swabs of stains on the back of the knife sheath. Then we have DNA extracts from all 4 of those. The blood card from Ethan, the blood card from Xana, from Madison, and from Kaylee. And then oral swabs from somebody they're not telling us. And then 2 DNA swabs from somebody they're not telling us, which honestly is probably the roommates. Like, I don't know why it wouldn't be the roommates. And then DNA extracts from like all these other items, which all the other items we'll talk about in a different live. Okay, so yeah, this verifies the unknown male DNA on the knife sheath itself, which if you have an unknown male DNA on the knife sheath that was found at the scene and you're wanting the entire world to believe that the weapon that caused these 4 lives to no longer be, living, like it took their lives like instantly with some sort of like magic ninja powers, you would think that if there was actually an unknown male DNA on the back of that sheath, you would not let it be an unknown for long. And I don't know if this is the piece that is Kohberger's, because this is not the snap. This is the strap. Okay, let's continue. The DNA profile obtained from item 1.1 was determined to be from an unknown male. Ethan Chapin and blank are not the source of DNA on the item. This DNA profile was entered into the combined DNA index system CODIS to be routinely searched against the database. A case agency will be notified in the event of a profile match. So this might actually be the one that ended up being Kohberger's. But I don't know. See, that's another thing that I'm confused about, though, because wasn't there 2 pieces of trace evidence they took from that part? Let's go back up to the picture real quick. I could have sworn that on the strap there was like a piece on the inside strap itself. And then there was also evidence. Don't you start going sideways. And then there was also trace evidence taken from that hole spot. Are they labeling? Okay, see, like this is 1.1. And see, so what are they calling this part? See, where's the diagram? Okay. Oh, well, I guess they would call it 1.2, but that's kind of stupid. See, now I need to know. Now I need to know. So if it's on the strap itself, obviously that'd be 1.1. But when they took this part, are they considering that to be part of the handle? Or are they considering this to be part of the strap? With it being down in this crevice. Not once. Not once. So that's what I need better clarification on what they would consider this, because if it's inside this crevice, to me it would be like the part of the strap and not the actual handle. So shouldn't there be more than 1 for 1.1? If that's the case? Okay. Let's continue. I want to go through all of this with a fresh brain. But I feel like there should be more than 1 for that spot. They need to clarify that area. They really need to clarify that spot. Okay. The DNA profile obtained from item 1.4 indicates a mixture of DNA with a major profile, which matches that obtained from the known reference sample of Kaylee Goncalves. Assuming a 2-person mixture. Okay, yeah, this is where they were like, we don't know if it was Kaylee and Maddie and another person, Kaylee and 2 other strangers. We don't know. We just know it's a mixture plus 1 we know for sure. How you can just have all these I don't know for sure's again, especially whenever you're taking it in front of a grand jury. You're not letting us have a pretrial hearing. You're not letting us have a freaking actual trial where you show us anything. It's so stupid. Absolutely so stupid. Assuming a two-person mixture, this DNA profile is at least 757 septillion times more likely to be seen if it were the result of a mixture of DNA from Kaylee Goncalves and an unrelated, randomly selected individual than if it resulted from two unrelated individuals randomly selected from a general population. Maddie Mogen is a potential contributor to the minor component of this mixture. Assuming a two-person mixture, this DNA profile is at least 48.6 quintillion times more likely to be seen if it were the result of a mixture of DNA from Maddie Mogen and an unrelated, randomly selected individual than if it resulted from two unrelated individuals randomly selected from the general population. Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, and whoever the frick is being excluded here are excluded as contributors from the DNA mixture. So would that automatically, according to their theory, remove Xana and Ethan being first? A lot of people assume that. They would have to make that match their theory, but I believe it was two people and that it was all happening at the exact same time. But that's why they can't give us a theory, because they can't really make this work. A partial DNA profile obtained from item 1.2 indicates a mixture of DNA from 3 individuals, at least one of which is male. Due to the low-level results and limited data, no comparisons can be made. So there was another male on there that they couldn't do anything for. A partial DNA profile obtained from item 1.3 indicates a mixture of DNA from at least 2 individuals, at least one of which is male. Due to the low level results and limited data, no comparisons can be made. So there's at least 2 other unknown male DNA on the knife sheath itself that they still left unknown completely. Plus we have the unknown DNA on the glove, and then the unknown DNA on the handle of the stairs. Are you trying to destroy things? This is crazy to me. Like, I know that there's unknown stuff, but like reading it out loud and knowing that it's been almost 3 years now. I don't understand how we got here. I really don't. That's insane to me. Okay. So this 1.2 that has such a low level result, but is an unknown male DNA, is from the edges of the knife sheath handle portion, the edges of where you would grab it at the top. And the other one is 1.3, which is the blade portion. So the bottom part. I wonder if they ever compared the two of them to see if they match themselves. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting when it comes to the IgG stuff they did, okay? Because remember I told you guys there's a big cloning process, especially when it comes to having something like trace DNA, which is why Othram Dew needed to shut his damn mouth, because he wasn't there for this portion of this. He's not allowed to make statements, or he shouldn't legally be allowed to make statements regarding anything he didn't do. So considering that he's not the one who actually extracted the DNA and he was brought something in a vial, homeboy should have kept his mouth shut about, I don't know why they said blah, 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 blah. There was so much DNA. No, there wasn't. They cloned that shit. Shut the frick up. They did crap to it, and they had to, because there was nothing left. They even say here that item 1.1 and 1.4 were consumed during testing, but that the extracts remain, meaning they were able to take extracts of that DNA, use it, make it bigger, clone it around, but the original samples are gone. The original samples are just gone. So no matter what you do, you're not going to get a pure sample. People that work in DNA will even tell you that these clones that they make from these DNA samples most of the time when they are tested against themselves, they don't completely match. The clones don't completely match each other. So the fact, again, that it's just gone and there's nothing to compare it to besides whatever these extracts are that, again, can't even match each other for the majority is a problem. And 1.1 is the strap piece. So the strap piece DNA was completely consumed during testing, and the only thing that remained was an extract. Then it says 1.2 and 1.3 and their DNA extracts were consumed during testing. So, so the two unknown male DNAs of 1.2 and 1.3 that are so limited that they couldn't tell who the frick anything was or what it was besides it was a dude were all consumed, including their extracts. Meaning what? There's nothing left. Nothing left of the unknown DNA whatsoever. So whoever those unknown males were, if it was two different unknown males on the knife sheath, whoever they were, they're good and in the clear because everything about them is used up. I mean, that's cool for you, broski. Yeah, I know. This is insane. And then what else did they tell us? The FBI told us that the profile they created to run through all those illegal ass portals that they used, they got rid of that profile too. So that the defense could not go back in and run their own testing on the profile that the FBI used to get the same matches that the FBI got. Because it was gone and deleted. That's insane. Just gone. All other items in the empty packaging for items 1.1, 0.2, and 0.4 have been returned to the main laboratory evidence vault for return to the submitting agency. Jesus. Okay, now what's this now? Okay, so this is later, but still not after Bryan Kohberger's name was given to MPD. This looks like the last thing that they did when it came to accepting evidence to do anything was 12/5 of 22. Now, at this point, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names blocked out. We do know they took a lot of swabs from people. They took a lot of DNA. They took a lot of oral swabs. They took a lot of fingerprints. We know. So it looks like, are they just like re-upping the report? Or are they doing more testing on stuff? I don't think so. Okay, yeah, no, they do have another one now. Okay, they have 1.5 swabs from inside surface of blade portion. I do remember that they said that they did do that. So inside where the blade would go, they swabbed the inside of it. Items. Okay, so all of these other ones plus the 1.5 from the knife sheath were forwarded for DNA analysis. Results will follow in a separate report. Okay, so then where is it? Okay, so this is another, okay, this must be it right here. 12/5. They're talking about how it was still in the bag, evidence tape. Okay, see, they're literally, it's still being called trace in this. I cannot believe the argument they had over this when it's directly in the original documentation. Like, how can you argue that? Jesus, okay. Brown paper bag, evidence tape, knife sheath. Okay, trace not examined. Sheath previously examined prior to latent print analysis. Observed black and white off residue overall on outside. Used 2 swabs to swab inside surface about 5 inches deep inside of the blade portion. Light brown transferred to the swab. Swabs of inside surface of blade portion. Half of each swab cut to DNA. Packed in an envelope. Okay, yeah, no, we're getting into other stuff now. I don't want to mix everything up. Okay. Okay, that's what we just read. Is this the actual like report where they get the information now? Okay, so okay, so they have the swab itself in this, and then also this DNA extract from the 1.5. I'm just looking for the 1.5. Okay, so then they start talking about the 1.1, like all the knife sheath stuff again right here, but it's all blocked out, almost 3 whole lines. And then it says, are not the source of the unknown male DNA previously obtained from 1.1. So 1.1 would have been the only unknown male DNA that was left. So it has to be the one where they ended up with Kohberger's DNA. But whoever, they tested somebody right here against that one, and it wasn't his DNA, whoever this person was. I want to know who that is. I wonder if it's Jack. The DNA profile previously obtained from item 1.4 indicates a mixture of DNA with a major profile, assuming a 2-person mixture, blank. Blankety blank, 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 are excluded as being contributors. So they also tested the back. To see if somebody else matched it. Okay, but where's 1.5? These other DNA mixtures that are being like talked about in here, they're not from the house. I mean, they're not from the knife sheath, and we're trying to keep like just to the knife sheath. Where is 1.5? Sure is lots of DNA. Okay, the partial DNA profile obtained from item 1.5 indicates a mixture of DNA from 2 individuals. So even on the inside of the knife sheath where the blade goes, there's 2 different DNAs inside of it that technically remained unknown because it was very limited low results and no comparisons could be made. I'm going to just go ahead and jump on out on a limb and say that it was consumed 29, 29, 30, 40, 40, 40. It actually doesn't say anything right here. Due to the low level results and limited data, no comparisons can be made. But then 1.5 is not mentioned in here. Am I missing it? 29.1, 29.3, 30, 40.1, 40.2, 40.3, 23, 29.1, 31.1, 23, 29.1, 29.2, 29.3, 30, 31.1. So they don't say what happened to 1.5? So 2, did it say male or did it just say unknown? Just 2 unknown individuals, too low to even tell if it was male or female. Whose 2 DNAs could have been inside the knife sheath? Okay. Now, as far as I can tell, this correspondence and there's something else that looks to be the exact same thing. Like it's email itself and then the correspondence itself, but they're saying the exact same thing. So we're going to go over them, but it's going to be like, just be prepared because it's going to be in here twice. But this is correspondence on November 16th, 2022 between Rylene Nowlin, the one who's now coming out and being like, it's actually not trace DNA. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I don't know who paid you. Freaking lies. Lies. Okay. This is about the knife sheath. It says, as of right now, the knife sheath is their only item of evidence. They have no other evidence, is what we are being told. They just repeated. These are like professionals. They just repeated the exact same thing in 2 completely different ways. That is insane. Okay. We have had some recent developments in the last few minutes. We are rolling a crime scene team up there right now. Probably Ginny, Carrie, Tara, Haley, and Wyatt, if they are available, and possibly Anne. This is Moscow PD's case. ISP is assisting, but Moscow is lead. Bill Thompson is the prosecutor's office. At the prosecutor's office is involved and will be POC for PTC. And then it has his name and phone number, email and phone number. Not his personal number, YouTube. Don't freaking strike my live because you want to be douche faces. This is personal, publicly listed information, okay? Just making sure the bots freaking hear me. My God. The autopsies are occurring today in Spokane. Matthew is going to call their office to let them know what we need specifically for major case prints and that we need DNA references. They do. Is this supposed to say now have a suspect, or is this a typo? They do now have a suspect and there's a name. Guys. So on the 16th, they were already telling ISP they had a suspect and they were following him to get DNA. This must be the guy they followed back and forth to the gas stations and ended up getting the cigarette butt from. On the 16th, they were calling him a suspect in between agencies. Oh, I want to know who this be, bro. I just want to know. Isn't it innocent enough just to know? I just want to know. I just want to know. They had several leads before BK. Brett Payne got on the stand in January and literally told Ann Taylor they had an entire lead suspect that they were working on. And then all of a sudden, they got the call from the FBI and all the information for this Sose lead was thrown off to the side. And then they got the reports about the unknown male DNA, like all the DNA testing coming back and it being unknown male DNA. And they tossed that off to the side too, simply because they had a name from the feds. That came out of the lead investigator's own face. So yeah, they did have other suspects besides Kohberger. Show did. I really thought this was a typo because my brain wasn't comprehending how the hell are we reading this on the 16th. And it's redacted. Okay, he does have blank. I don't have a name to check. So it looks like this is a name, so I don't know what name you wouldn't have to check. It must have something to do with whatever is in this box. We expect the references and major case prints along with one of the victim's fingernails / clippings / scrapings. I don't know what they will collect to be submitted tomorrow. Tina will be the person performing the processing on the sheath for latents. Their evidence person is on vacation this week. Oh my God. Moscow's evidence person was on vacation the week of the murders. I mean, you can't plan around it, I guess. What? So some newbie who had no freaking idea that was just standing in named Mariah. No offense, Mariah, if you ever come across this, but this was the wrong time for you to be standing in for somebody in this position. So instead of the actual evidence person's name on all of the reports that we just paid for from MPD, it's going to say some random Mariah person. My God. Okay. I love it. She's trying their best. She's trying her best, guys. She is trying her best. Poor girl. To literally be somebody's vacation stand-in and the most important thing to happen to this area in decades. Oh, poor girl. I want to know your story. Because that's kind of like an outside looking in, trying to figure shit out situation. Poor girl. She is trying her best, but they're, oh my God. I'm just going to stop right here and just make this real big, and y'all can just drop a 1 in the chat when you see why I just stopped right here. I'm going to stop right here until y'all see it. I'm waiting. Somebody better type that damn word. She is trying her best, but there could be some things not quite right. Yes. These are forensic scientists. These are forensic scientists. And they don't even know they're there and there. This is horrible. What is happening? I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to lose my shit reading this report. Hi, Calypso. I know I'm laughing really hard and disturbing your sleep. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. You can't see that far, Bella? Here. There could be some things. THERE. Oh my God. We've got to be right. We've got to be being punked. We've got to be being punked. Where is Ashton Kutcher? Where is he? Right, like in this report, the way that it says that, like if I were her, I'd be like, what you mean I'm trying my best? It does sound like an insult. Bro, for real. Definition. Like, look up janky in the dictionary. This case is the definition. I hate this so much. This is so ridiculous. Look, as many questions as I have, and like all the shit that I've talked about certain people, and those things are never going to get taken away because my opinions are based off the things that they've said, all the things, right? But I'm saying all that to say this. I feel so bad for these families. The incompetence is disturbing. And for the ones that were just sitting back and sort of just like waiting for answers and trusting the process, I am so sorry that this is what it all was like waited on, is these incompetent, uneducated people. This is insane to me. And it might be something small. And some people might think it's an overreaction. No. I have a real high standard when you hold certain titles. A really high standard for stuff like this. So when I see stupid shit like that, it really just triggers the shit out of me. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. Okay, now we have Wednesday, November 16th again. What time was this other one? So this one was at 11:32 a.m. So before noon, 3 days after the crime took place, they already had the name of somebody they were calling a suspect. That's fast, guys. I don't remember if the reports mentioned that quickly. See, it's going to be interesting to go back in. Okay. Now this one is from before this, and it's at 10:12 in the morning. And it's from Riley Nowlin, and it goes out to all these different people. I was just informed a trooper will be delivering a knife sheath from the scene today. See, okay. Everything we're getting from Moscow will be leading up to this moment right here. They are requesting DNA, latents, and if we see any trace, to preserve that and notify Matthew so he can arrange trace analysis. They do not have a suspect and are what? Okay, they went from not having a suspect to having a suspect in an hour and 20 minutes. Maybe y'all were just like confused the first time, because that's crazy. All right. They do, or maybe she just doesn't know how to type. They do have a suspect. See, okay. This seems like it should be not, because the rest of it says, and are requesting this to be rushed to try to develop any possible leads. So it went from they need to develop leads to an hour and 20 minutes later, they have a suspect and this is his name. See, this is more like lack of communication skills between these agencies, honestly. And I know that people can be like, well, they weren't expecting something like this. They haven't worked a quadruple homicide. Protocol is protocol is protocol. Process is process is process. Steps are steps are steps. It shouldn't matter what kind of crime it is. It should all be handled the exact same way, and it should be a hell of a lot more organized than this. They also indicated it appears, no, they have been made aware we will need reference samples and major case prints from all 4 victims. They also indicated it appears one of the victims fought back, and they have requested fingernail samples from her be collected at autopsy. Well, the only ones we've read about so far is Maddie's, but they took them from everybody. We read about them, and there's mention of Xana's clippings in some of these documents too that I noticed. I believe the autopsies are happening today or tomorrow, and my guess would be they will happen in Spokane, but I do not have confirmation about that. Okay. So here's 11/17 the next day. Bill Thompson, from Bill Thompson to Jade Miller and Ashley Jennings and Talbot. Good morning, Jade. Just got back in the office and was reading your email as Jeff was also calling. Yes, you have our permission to consume any samples collected from the sheath. Please let us know if you all need anything else. So what he's responding to is this one right here, asking if they're allowed to consume the samples, which means they're gone. Basically test them into oblivion to see if you can get the results. Well, now you've tested all your unknown DNA into oblivion, and now we don't know who the frick it belonged to. So they asked permission. I am writing regarding the above mentioned case to ask for permission to consume any samples collected from the knife sheath. We feel it will be necessary to consume any samples collected from the knife sheath in order to have the best chance at obtaining results. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Sure. Eat them all up. Don't give us anything to work with. Take them all. It's just insane. They changed the names of some stuff. They changed swab of edges on handle side to swab of edges on handle portion. You're still not descriptive enough. Because if you're swabbing the edges of the damn thing, you need to be describing which side you're swabbing and not swabbing the whole thing like around in a circle. You're supposed to be doing it on each side and separate it out. So there's that. Swab of edges on knife side to swab of edges on blade portion. Y'all still don't know how to freaking actually label things to where they make any sense. Y'all are not good at this. Thank you, Bill. We will definitely have a list of all samples that are consumed, and that information will also be within any notes reports that are issued. We have no concerns. We need answers. If you could all just keep writing a list of which samples are consumed. Jeff, please chime in if you have any different thoughts. And then the 19th, she's asking again. I am writing again to request permission to consume samples in this case. For efficiency purposes, I am asking for upfront permission to consume for the entire case, meaning that we would be able to consume any samples where we feel it is necessary to do so. Let me know if you have any questions. That's interesting that she felt the need to ask twice. I mean, you got permission in writing once. Why'd you need to do it twice? All right, let's see where else is. See right here. Fingernail clippings from Xana. Ooh, I gotta sneeze. Yeah, consuming everything up. I'm like, every single time we get anything else, like I'm so disappointed, like more and more and more and more disappointed. Okay. Make sure I didn't miss another one right here. Okay, this is the other. Okay, this is a new email regarding the sheath. And it says this was from 11/20. Rylene Nowlin, it's a case meeting with Matthew Gamet and like a bunch of other people, Bill Thompson, Darren Gilbertson, Jeffrey Talbot, Justin Blaker. No Brett Payne? Mr. Lead Investigator is not on this call? Don't look like it. Reviewed reports issued thus far. Latents, 2 biology screening and 1 DNA. Discussed the unknown male on the knife sheath and that there was not a CODIS hit at the state level. Waiting for response from Rush search request to national. If no hits, discussed molecular genealogy for unknown male. Bill Thompson authorized pursuing this avenue in the event of no CODIS hits. MOU sent to Ashley Jennings for signatures. At the request of the 3 agencies involved in the lab deleted the distribution list for reports, and Rylene will send copies of all issued reports, notes, packets to Detective Talbot. Huh? At the request... What did I just hear? Pew, 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 pew. Is somebody practicing? I do live like sort of in the country, so it wouldn't surprise me. Okay. At the request of the 3 agencies involved, the lab deleted the distribution list for reports. I'm going to say in the vaguest of terms that the distribution list for reports would be like people that are supposed to get the reports. And they got rid of the names of the people that are supposed to be getting the reports. Sort of what that sounds like. And Rylene will send copies of all issued reports / note packets to Detective Talbot. It was also requested the lab not release results to anyone else, including our chain of command above Matthew. D2 will take responsibility, which is District 2 for the Idaho State Police, will take responsibility for updating command staff. Matthew will be in contact if we need to pursue genealogy. Matthew Gammon is the director of the ISP lab that I've been in contact with about the Houston trip and all this stuff coming out. Okay. Now we have 12 of 22. Again, Riley Nellen on the phone with Detective Talbot says, asked about backpack and beer cans submitted for biological testing. Backpack no longer believed to belong to blank. Beer cans do not know who they are from. Who do they think it belonged to? Who do they think that it belonged to? Jack Showalter, maybe? I know that there was a lot of stuff about backpacks and beer when it came to Showalter, so maybe that's who that's for. He stated they cannot say any of these are from perpetrator. Would like to know if any from same unknown male as Sheath. I advise none of these can go into CODIS. He said he understood that. Okay, so then we have November 16th. It looks like Riley Nowlin was just allowing the rest of the people at ISP to know that the Sheath was there. It is not expected that we start tonight. First thing in the morning is fine. The 17th. Okay, this was, what time was that? 3:59 p.m. And then it shows that at 1:19 p.m., the District 3 trooper just called and said the District 2 trooper just handed the knife sheath off to him. He may not be here until 5 p.m. I will stay to get it checked in. Okay, so I want that report now from District 3. This is now something separate, which I knew there was an in-between, but I just really wasn't sure what it was. The report doesn't say, like the report written by the trooper that's in the MPD documents, it doesn't say, like, I don't believe it says, I'm going to say this off the top of my head and I could be wrong, but as I'm remembering it, it just mentions New Meadow. It doesn't say who they passed it off to or where it was going after that. I just know that that was not the final destination and I wasn't sure. So the trooper that picked it up is from District 2 and the trooper that brought it to the lab is from District 3. And there's nothing about that anywhere. So to complete this, at the end of the day, I'm going to need to get at least his write-up, his report, something from the District 3 trooper that transferred it from New Meadow there. So if this is 119, wherever District 3 trooper is, it's going to be almost 4 hours for him to get to the lab. Okay, now this is that original email that I said this is going to sound like some of this later is like repeated because it's like in a different format. So that was the correspondence summary, I guess. We're just going to reread it again, though, because it's in the email format. And again, this was sent at 11:32. As of right now, the knife sheath is their only item of evidence. They have no other evidence, is what we are being told. We have had some recent developments in the last few minutes. So that must have gone from no suspects to now we do have a suspect, and here's the name, because again, she says there is updates in the last few minutes. Rolling the crime scene team up there right now, probably Ginny, Carrie, Tara, Haley, and Wyatt, if they are all available, and possibly Anne. This is Moscow PD's case. ISP is assisting, but Moscow is lead. Bill Thompson at the prosecutor's office is involved and will be point of contact for PTC. And then it has his work, not personal, email and phone number. Okay, YouTube. The autopsies are occurring today in Spokane. Matthew is going to call their office to let them know what we need specifically for major case prints and that we need DNA references. They do now have a suspect with a blanked out name as of, again, the 16th of November. They are following him to get a surreptitious DNA sample. He does have blank. I don't have a name to check. We expect the references and major case prints along with one of the victims. I wonder if this is like an affiliation. Like he does have an uncle with the FBI, or he does have a grandpa that was some sort of enforcement officer. I wonder if that's what that is, but they're like, but I don't have a name to check. That's sort of like what crossed my mind the first time, but it came back again. We expect the references and major case prints along with one of the victim's fingernail clippings and scrapings. I don't know what they will collect to be submitted tomorrow. Tina will be the person performing the processing on the sheath for latents. Their evidence person is on vacation this week. Mariah, who is filling in, Jesus, slow down. Mariah, who is filling in, has been in contact with Karen, Shannon, Mickey, and Jade. She is trying her best, but there could be some things not quite right on pre-log that we will do our best to work out. And then they were asking if someone had triaged the case. Someone from lab should ensure there isn't additional evidence to submit. I'm not sure who the POC would be, but in general, ISP investigations need guidance with DNA submissions. So I guess she was like, are we sure that the knife sheath is the only thing that they're submitting? Because that doesn't sound right. I understand the question about like, why is this the only thing? Okay. I think this is the same one again. We're just going to read it again, though. I was just informed a trooper will be delivering a knife sheath from the scene today. They are requesting DNA latents, and if we see any trace, to preserve that and notify Matthew so he can arrange trace analysis. They do not have a suspect. I'm just going to keep saying not. They do not have a suspect and are requesting this be rushed and try to develop any possible leads. They may have been aware we will need reference samples and major case prints from all 4 victims. They also indicated it appears one of the victims fought back, and they have requested fingernail samples from her be collected at autopsy. I believe the autopsies are happening today or tomorrow, and my guess would be they will happen in Spokane, but I do not have confirmation of that. Yeah, that's the same one. Okay, so let's see. That was... was that it? That's it. Page 1852 regarding the knife sheath email back and forth stuff is the last time in all of these documents that this knife sheath is talked about. Yeah, guys, this is a lot. Author's confidentiality statement. There's so much in here. Oh, whose messages are these? December 29th, 2022. Yeppers. That's what my 70-something-year-old dad says. Whose messages? Talbot? Oh, look, that's the tire tracks they were looking at. No prints on the sheath. Sorry, not better news. Okay, but that's not... it's coming like directly from that spot too. I could have sworn those are the same ones in the thing from Xana. But there's also like so many marks like that everywhere. This is from the 17th. I'm not going to be scrolling through all of this. I really just want to see if there's more pictures. Oh, why do we have so much redactedness? Okay, what is this? Let's see. Somebody's like manual writing down what they saw through it, I guess. What are you doing? Go. I just can't believe how many documents is in here. And like, I don't know if it's organized. I don't know if it's going to be like, I mean, obviously everything about the sheath when it comes to like the lab stuff's in one spot, but then the emails are in another spot. There's just so much here. I don't know if there's other pictures and stuff in this, guys. I'm going to try my damnedest to scroll this entire thing tomorrow and see if there's any more photographs at all. And then try to just like go through and see. I know we need to talk about the way that they did a bunch of their samples, the stuff that actually was blood, anything else that they referenced that actually was blood. This is just so crazy. Yes, 2,356 pages. Yeah. General biology screen processing only. Yeah, there should be more stuff about Othram in here, I'm hoping, than just the damn contract. I can't believe it. It's so much. And yeah, like we knew that it was going to be a lot of documents, but it's just not very well taken in when it's all in one freaking document and not separated out. It's just so much. It was laying next to Maddie, touching her. 1846. Let's see what's on 1846. This is just about getting a print exemplars from somebody. This is from August 22nd, 2024. I was speaking with Sergeant Gilbertson about another case and asked him about where we were on making arrangements to get blank exemplars. He advised that arrangements hadn't been made and that it didn't seem that getting blanks prints was going to happen. He said that Blank's attorney had responded to ISP's request for prints by saying he'd get back to them, but never has. When I returned to IPSFS, I noticed Tara about to get about the status of getting Blank's exemplars, and she had been waiting to hear from Gilbertson. Is this Jack? Because we know that Jack just did fingerprints like in May of 2025. It could be Jack. Let me pull the page up. I was just reading it, but let me pull the page up. Oh my God, what? What you want? See, Zelda's not a talkie kitty, and these two are talkie kitties. They talk to each other all day. And I know when she's addressing the baby because her tone changes. Y'all got food and water and all y'all's toys everywhere. What do you want? They've been here 4 days. They got tents and toys and all kinds of stuff everywhere. Sleeping in places I don't let Zelda go because Zelda's big now and she knocks everything down. What you want? What do you want? What do you want? Can I see you? Can I see me? Can I see you? Hi. Okay, yeah, let me read this. This looks like it's about Jack, maybe. Your cat heard it. That's so funny. There is in one of the what? Oh my god. In one of the documents, it does mention that there was blood found at Jack's house. Both Jacks. The Jack's apartment and Jack's house. Yeah. True story. Very true story. It's in the docs. There's so many documents because like we really need to go in. Everything for Jack S. Everything for Jack decor. Everything for this. Everything for that. There's just like so many. And whenever they don't have their names in it and you have to play guesswork, you literally have to go in and reread the entire document, the entire supplemental narrative, the entire report to be able to see. Hold on, I gotta grab her. Come here. Come see me. Come here. He's gonna mess up all the headphones. I know, but you can't do that. You're gonna mess up the headphones. See the babies? It's a weird babies. She's jumping on my headphone wires. I don't know why y'all gotta choose to play on this side of the disc. You got this whole other space everywhere. Yeah. Go over there. Okay. Yeah, this just says they needed to get these prints. Now, it is interesting that he's like, I was speaking with Sergeant Gilbertson about another case. I'm going to assume that does not mean that whoever this person is involved in another case. It is odd wording, though. I do know, again, that Jack Ducour did not give his prints until May of 2025. Why? I don't know. You'd think, considering that they ignored him and left him in the back of the cop car and he was the ex-boyfriend, you'd think they would have taken his prints on day one. So I don't know. I don't know who this is. But no, you're right. There was blood at Jack Showalter's apartment, and there was a blood sample that was found at Jack Ducour's house. We read about that, I believe, in one of the more recent, I want to say the unsealed documents. Was it the unsealed documents? I think it was. It could have been one of the ISP reports, but I could have sworn it was more recent. I'm actually, that's the reason probably why I got, what? Girl, we're done for the night. You just now got it? That's wild. No, like I used to be really allergic to kitten dander. But then once the cats get to like a certain size, I'm not allergic to them anymore. I don't know, weird. They're just going to stay over here. The mom is like tempting the baby with her tail. So they're just going to do their thing. Yeah, like everything, basically everything that they tested when it came to the samples that were coming off the sheath besides, no, like, wasn't it like all of them? They were all consumed. 2 of them still had their extracts, which is not the sample itself. It's an extract, and it's not the same thing. And the other ones were completely consumed and gone. Yeah. Completely consumed and gone. Okay. I'm going to go through. Okay, I'll look at that later. I'm getting off of here because it's late. I'm tired. It's been a busy day. Or I guess I'll check it right now real quick. But this is it. And then I'm done. And I'm getting off for the night because I want to go play my video game. It's the green and pink jacket. Oh my god. It's the green and pink jacket. How did you get through all these pages already, bro? Jesus. Green and pink jacket. So is this the spots they thought was blood? Here's the blanket. There wasn't blood. It looks like they tested both of these things and it shows that it wasn't. Negative. No reactions. That's really confusing, though, because there's documents claiming that they asked specifically for these things back to be retested. So, considering that this is from 6/22/23, is this after they requested the stuff back? See, I'm going to have to go to the MPD documents and get that information. Okay, look at this shit. So they have Bryan's name on this one and the 4 people that died, but who's this extra person that they have blanked out here? Dylan, maybe? Because that's the blanket from her bed. I mean, it's got mold on it. It was somewhere where it was very humid. And it stayed humid. And now it's got like nasty mildew mold on it. Right here is where they're saying, oh, right here is the blood. Look at the plus right here. So it doesn't look like there's anything on the jacket, but on this red blanket that was in Dylan's room, there is a positive up in this corner. Like these 2 are negative, but there is a blood spot on Dylan's blanket. No, it's probably Dylan because it was compared against Dylan's. I mean, it was probably compared against Dylan's because it's her blanket. I'm just assuming that because it was in her room. And they've been hiding her name from everything, even though she's a grown-ass adult. So the DNA profile obtained from item 132.1 matches that obtained from the known reference sample from blank. See item 19, report 4, issued 11/20/22. This DNA profile is at least 77.4 septillion times more likely to be seen if blank is the source than if an unrelated individual. So I'm wondering if this is Dylan's. And like, yeah, it's got blood on it, but it's Dylan's blood. And so it doesn't matter because it was her blanket type deal. See, that's what we're going to be like when we go through the rest of this stuff, because the sheath, again, all in one, and then going through and going back through all the rest of the DNA and biological samples, that's where we'll get the rest of that information. But it looks like there wasn't anything positive at all on the jacket, and there was one spot that was positive on the blanket, and it matches a reference sample that they already had on file as of the 20th. So that's why I'm just assuming it's probably Dylan's blood on Dylan's blanket. But it is kind of dark, like it would have like just happened maybe. Because if it was one of the victims' blood, it wouldn't be redacted. So it would have to be Dylan's or Bethany's or whatever number of people, small number of people they would have had reference cards for by the 20th. No, not any name. It has to be somebody by the 20th that they had a DNA sample for, and there was only certain people that they would have gotten DNA from in the first week. So that definitely narrows it down to not just anybody. Y'all are gonna break my stuffs, bro. Is that this company's logo? Holy shit. Oh my god, it is this company's logo. What a wild logo. Why would you use that for your logo? Oh my god, I'm done. I'm tired, bro. Right? Like, what the frick? Why would you use that? Yeah. Statement piece. What are you doing up? Oh my god, they really about to knock all my stuff down. I feel it coming. Come on over here. I'll play with y'all later. Stop. Hi. Okay. Wild shit. I'm glad these documents are out, but damn, it's going to be really stressful going through and separating all this stuff. On top of the fact that we are getting to the point to where we're seeing interviews and stuff come out. Now, I know that Molly's obviously is out. We've talked about it. I am going to do a live soon to go over like the interview itself. Just like to actually listen to the interview itself. But Connor also posted the interview with Jenna McClure today. It's only like 13 or so minutes long. So we'll go through that here soon. That's 2 out of the 7 that I was told that they were still redacting and doing things with. And since she told me the number 7, I have not seen anything other than Molly and now Jenna McClure. So there should be like 5 more. And she mixed it up between body cam and interviews. So there's that. Now, I haven't personally asked for Hunter and Maisie's interviews myself, but I think it was it Annie Potts? I want to say it was Annie. Anyway, whoever it was, and I think it was Annie, said that they requested them and they were told no because of like privacy policy stuff. So I'm going to request them myself because I'm sorry. What do you mean privacy policy shit? Because these are grown ass adults and everybody else's interviews are able to come out. So if y'all are hiding the Chapin's interviews, then you're not hiding them because of any freaking actual law. You're hiding them because somebody's paying you to hide them. Plain and simple. And I also think I figured out why my video was struck down for privacy violations, even though they're not telling me what it is. I showed the screenshots of the messages between Brett Norton and Steve Goncalves in that little like 3-minute video about us needing to talk about DOT before we did the lives. And it has Steve Goncalves' real name on it. And the only thing that I can really think of in their generic ass email that they sent me was that it could be social security number, address, couple other things, full name. And I'm like, so because I showed somebody's full name that's on their very public social media, and they're technically a public figure at this point because they go on national media and do interviews, and they have a freaking Facebook page that has fans on it. That's the reason why. And it says it was stricken by a third party. So Shannon Gray, you think I'm dumb, broskies? I know it was you. We about to fight, bro. You know how many freaking channels have those messages? And we're going to go through the messages again. So you better get ready, Mr. Gray, because I'm about to make you real busy. Real busy. I hope y'all had a great night listening to this stuff. I hope y'all had a beautiful Halloween. And by beautiful, I mean, I hope you fall asleep into a food coma and you dream of lollipops and Kit Kats. Because I'm about to go raid my son's candy box. I really am going to like eat all of it. Watch me. You guys have a super, super great night. I will be back tomorrow at some point to talk about more of these documents and more of these things. Just keep your bells on, even though obviously the notifications don't work. Just, you know, do your best. Do your best. Thank you so much for being in here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.